Hi, folks. This is Mountain Man coming to you from parts unknown. Well, did you get to see or hear uh, Joe calling into Morning Joe? I guess Morning Joe, he went on vacation for a day or two when I really think he had a hissy fit and he didn't want to show his face after everything he said. And then Biden went up there and puked everybody out after Morning Joe was talking about him like the second coming and bad mouthing Mr. T. So anyway, very odd interview, telephone supposedly interview. We're going to discuss that. And Mr. T had a pop-up, I call it a pop-up interview with Hannity. I didn't see the notification and didn't get to see the whole interview with Mr. T. I maybe missed 15 minutes of it, but I have to go live, and I caught some things that he said, and he's laying low. Smart thing to do. Don't get in the way of this. What I put in my thumbnail with mess with the letters a little bit. Those aren't I's in civil, okay? Those are lowercase L's. But anyway, and hopefully I'm not in trouble with anything I put in the thumbnail, but they're having a great conflict. That's what they called the civil, and then WAR back in the day, the Great War. So in the Democratic Party and in Hollywood too, you got people wanting to run Biden out, and he or whoever, as Mr. T said, whoever's running this country is lashing out in no uncertain terms. They want to stay, and a lot of people want them to go. White Lightning, how you doing? Gloria, Linda, Kim. Hi, Lori, Diane, Debbie, Ronald, Sandy. Nice to see you all. David. All right, we got everybody's rolling in, but I don't know. How many of you all got to listen to Joe Biden's exchange? I guess they claimed it was live. I watched a recording of it, a video. I don't know if they edited any of it out or what, but SM, how you doing? Wayne, how you doing? Yvonne, Angel, nice to see you, all of you. So we'll get some people in the chats, and I'll ask some questions about what they think when we got some people in the chats. But I'm gonna bring up something before we get into the gritty nitty. How in the past I brought up different creators. And I said they were important, because they were from younger generations. I put the thumbnails up. And I said they were going to play a role. And a lot of them walk the fine line of, being wishy-washy so as not to have problems with this particular platform. And they've survived, they haven't got kicked off or anything like that. But then again, they got to be milk toast, limp in their presentations, and can only speak their mind so much. But I brought up Tim Pool in the past, and a lot of people say I don't like Tim Pool. And I called him a beanie kid. Everybody calls him a beanie boy and all stuff like that. But he's relatively young, And boy, are they looking for trouble. And by they, I mean the ones playing this game of attacking Trump. In this case, it was one of the prosecutors. If some of you may not have heard this story yet, one of the prosecutors during the E. Jean Carroll case, which wasn't criminal, it was civil. Everything is not convictions, it's adjudicated. And while I'm on that subject, I might as well say I got to do a thumbnail. It says Trump is not convicted of anything, or Trump is not a felon, something like that. But which is true, he's not a felon. Anyway, this prosecutor was interviewing with somebody, and it's all going all over the internet now. She said she was worried about one of the jurors she tried to have kicked off. They had 9 jurors. And this juror said, I listened to Where Do I Get My News? She thought they said the temple or a temple. And she said, well, I guess I didn't think much of that, or I thought it was a little odd. But he was really saying Tim Pool, and I didn't understand him. But once I found out it was Tim Pool, and if you never listened to Tim Pool before, like I said, milquetoast, middle of the road, Bernie bro, maybe halfway reformed, she called him a right-wing conspiracy theorist, a right-wing conservative, and an incel. I didn't even know what that word was until not too long ago. But incel is quite the insult, especially for, these creators. A lot of them have egos. I mean, their heads swell so big, I don't know how they get them through the door to do their broadcasts. And he's had girlfriends and drama and all that stuff. Been for years on the internet fighting with his girlfriend or who is he dating and stuff like that. To call him an incel is such a slap in the mouth. And let me tell you, they didn't get the juror kicked off, but I thought it was odd that this prosecutor would say, if he had said the temple or a temple is where he gets his news from, that she was fine with that. She only had a problem when it was Tim Pool. What temple were you thinking of, woman? So is okay with you. So anyway, if these guys in that age group as creators, Sticks, Hex and Hammer, a lot of you know who I'm talking about, Mark Dice, the last thing you want to do is get them started on you. And they'll light the internet up. All right. I mean, the kid gets 150, 200,000 views when he does videos. And the last thing you want to do is get them mad and get them wanting to zap you back. I mean, that, whether she knew it or not, this prosecutor, she zapped Tim Pool. She really said something, a description that's humiliating to these young guys and gals. And I'm curious as to what kind of hornet's nest that's going to stir up in social media. Because I'm a peanut on the bar floor of the social media world, but it's still going to be, maybe he'll let it die, but I can't imagine that. I don't think his ego would allow him to let that go unanswered. So this just happened today, where they threw this characterization of him, and I said, well, let me go to his channel and see if he's got upset and just got on live stream and started ranting. No, he had another video. He had a video up about Whoopi Goldberg, and Whoopi Goldberg he played a clip of her on The View. It's okay with The View if Joe is pooping in his pants. And so he played a clip of Whoopi Goldberg. So here we go. We're gonna have morning TV hosts like Joe and The View and whoever else wants to stick their head in that beehive with these young creators. And she's saying, well, I've stepped in poop all my life, and who cares if he's going to bathroom his pants as long as he can get the job done. And Donald Trump wouldn't know the truth if it split his lip, or some stupid nonsense like that. And even though it's a 10-minute video about Whoopi and The View being so ridiculous, it somehow manages to get into how Joe and his apologists keep calling Trump a liar, but they won't say what he lied about during the debate, saying he had 30-some lies. They're up to 30 now. Joe said 24, but they found 6 more. What was he lying about? No, nobody will say. And other things, the laptop, Hunter Biden, he gets into all that stuff. Now, maybe he heard about what this prosecutor said, and that was his way of going off. I don't know. But it's going to be fun to watch this stuff develop. Let's see. Let me see what's going on in the chats. Kim, how you doing? Melvita, how you doing? Miss Mendersu, thank you for helping out last night, Miss Mendersu. And thank you to Mike and Bev for helping out earlier today. They went by me a coffee. I have a link in the description if anyone wants to help out there. Pappy Two Bears, how you doing? You better buy me a coffee aficionado along with Richard. How you doing? So it's nice to see you all. Who else snuck in here while I was going at it? LSA Ambassador, nice to see you. Wanda, Gary, he's another buy me a coffee. The big kahuna, that's what I call Gary. So, Awaken Trillium, how you doing? Debbie, we got 2 Debbie's television shows. MS Motorsports, yeah, we got a lot of people on. So I tell you, this stuff is going to start catching fire because everybody's focused on what is going to happen to Joe. We've got a weird mix of people like us who have known for 5 years that Joe has dementia and he's been off his rocker. We know about him losing his bowels. So Google account, how you doing? Losing his bowels in front of the Pope 2 years ago, and stinking out the parties with the royal families, and then not inviting him back. They're like, he stinks. We can't have that around here. So between us and people like Rob Reiner, okay, and Stephen King, shocked. I can't believe how he performed. And all the citizens like him that have never watched anything past MSDNC have had the truth held from them and censorship blocking things from them. They're like, I can't believe he must have had a cold. It must have been the cold medicine. Now they're finding out it's just a bunch of lies. Yeah, our Google account, Francis is in a pickle, but we saw that coming. Redhausen, how you doing? It is a dumpster fire, Gary. Yeah, television shows put some booms out there for Mike and Bev and everybody helping out. Miss Bensu, buy me a coffee. Let's see. I looked at a map of France. Let me pull that up. And the people in France have got to see it. They put up a map of France like we do with the different colors for each. They don't call them states. They call them departments. Okay. You know, like some Louisiana's got parishes and other states have counties. We have states. France has departments. And this guy put it up, and I might put it up on my community page. He put up a map, says election results. So Marie Le Pen's National Rally Party won every single French department except for Paris in the EU elections. Every single department. That's like Trump winning every state except DC. So if you can imagine, we look at the map of the elections. The entire thing is red except for a little blue dot where DC is. That's the way France looks. And I'm supposed to believe, this writer goes on, his name's Cillian, and I'm supposed to believe they came in third. Marie Le Pen came in third in the parliamentary elections? No way. So they know there's something rotten in Denmark. Okay? I mean, she won every, let's just put it this way, she won every state in the union except the capital city. Just like Trump won every state in the union and except for DC, and then lost everything in Congress. It's impossible. So stuff like that is getting out. And that's what they're going to try to do to us here. Of course, we see Joe Biden vetoed. Where is that? He vetoed that bill that would have prevented aliens from voting, right? Here it is. Elon Musk put it up. He re-X'd what Speaker Mike Johnson put up. It should alarm every American, okay? Let me see, pull it up. That a sitting U.S. president of the United States, who has opened our border to over 9 million illegals, just announced he would veto our bill to prevent non-citizens from voting. And he's got a statement of administration policy from the executive office of the president that I'll read at another date. Hi, Doc, how you doing? So whoever is running our country is behind that, because Joe's not making these decisions. So we got a pretty good crowd in here. Let me see, how do I want to do this? If you'd actually listened to the call-in, not if you haven't heard it yet. I mean, don't give your opinion of what you think until you hear it. But if you got to listen to Joe's interview with Mika and Morning Joe Scarborough, Biden's telephone call, do you think that was Joe's voice? Or do you think it was an actor/AI? Just put a J in if you really think it was Joe, or an AI if you think it was AI, or I for imposter. J or an I. And again, if you didn't listen to it, just don't suppose. I listened to it twice. The old bag said AI. Gary said Google. Debbie said AI. Do you think it could have been a human imposter? Or computer? It wasn't Joe. I feel very strongly that it wasn't Joe. There's a contingency of people that feel it's impossible to be Joe because he's already had his dirt bath. But I think Joe is talking to himself, babbling, drooling, wandering about. Ivan, how you doing? So nobody gives any thought that it was actually Joe on the other end of that phone. I don't either. And somebody was talking, I think it was Scott Adams. Maybe I don't want him to speak. It might not have been him. Somebody was saying, well, he had a couple of stutters in there and misspeaking that was classic Joe, but not when he as bad as he is now, but how he has in the past. And AI can train itself on cadence, okay? The cadence of a voice, the syntax of a voice, all kinds of things. If somebody, like, remember when Michelle Obama gave a speech and she kept, like, Obama would go, Barack would go during the speeches, and he'd keep talking. He had that habit, Well, Michelle would go, and remember that? She only gave one speech one time. She kept going, and I've got to say this, and I got to say that. AI could pick that up very easily, just like with Joe's cadence, syntax, whatever they want to call it. So let's see, two of the things that were highlighted, let me see if I've got it, what Joe said. Let's see, I got to expand it. I can hardly read it. I'm more than the presumptive. I'm going to be the Democrat nominee. The bottom line here is that we're not going anywhere. I am not going anywhere. I wouldn't be running if I didn't absolutely believe that I am the best candidate to beat Donald Trump in 2024. Well, he got the year right this time. I'll give you a second quote in a minute, but I wouldn't put it past him to have rehearsed that a couple of times with the AI. Mika, Joe, and whoever is running our country. That's what Mr. T said during Hannity night, whoever is running our country. And the other thing he said, I'm getting tired. No, he said, I'm getting so frustrated by the elites. I have to take a break and laugh from that. What, the elites like you and your brother with a property on an island next to Jeffrey E's island, right? Anyway, I'm not talking about you guys. By the elites in the party, they know so much more. If any of these guys don't think I should run against me, go ahead. Announce for president. Challenge me at the convention. And that's another thing that that makes me think it wasn't Joe, because that's exactly what somebody under fire should say. Come to the convention. Let's go. Because it's like Mr. T said, Joe's got a lot of power right now. He's the most powerful guy in the party. Or whoever's running Joe has a lot of power. Like Mr. T was saying, he's got the delegates. They can't do anything about it. Nothing except the 25th Amendment is what Mr. T said. He said they'd have to do it in a different form, okay, something like that. In a different, I can't think of the exact word he used, a different construct maybe, or a different, use 25th Amendment in a different manner. But he said it's going to be Joe. And he said if however reason, if Joe decides to relinquish the delegates or or if they use the 25th Amendment to get him out, it's the only way, according to Trump, whether Joe lets him do, barring some big, event, all right, put it that way. Joe backing out, or they use the 25th. And then the obvious, if something were to happen to Joe, that Kamala was going to be the one. He said it's going to be either Joe or Kamala. Now, who knows if Trump's throwing up a smoke screen or not? I don't know. But maybe he's trying to draw him out. But when you have news like this vetoing the bill to prevent non-citizens from voting, and like I said before, the greatest power the media has is the power to ignore. They're not reporting this. This is a huge bit of news. Not a peep. They're all worried about Trump is trying to distance himself from Project 2025. I might have got a little too strong with the people developing their Project 2025. Maybe I'm a little too rough on them. I know the majority of them don't want to hurt Trump's chances, but they should have been participating in Agenda 47 and promoting that instead of spending so much time doing that 900-page document that's given the left plenty of ammo. But I think this drama with Joe is going to overshadow that. We'll see. And Trump put out 20 promises. Okay? 20 promises. Very simple, very straightforward. And that is the Republican Party platform. And you remember from history class, a party platform, and they would have planks in a platform because they came up with that term back in the day when Lincoln had a party platform. They wanted to add a plank to the platform, like it was a structure you actually stood on and made out of planks. And so Trump limited it to 20 planks. And I'll read them here in a minute. No pets. Oh, don't say that, old bag. Sadie will get all upset. Ha ha ha! Hi, Tuco. How you doing? Yeah. Well, we couldn't see if there was a mask line because he was on the phone or somebody was on the phone. A little black box with an antenna sticking out of it, rah, 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 into the phone. And Joe and Mika acting like they're talking to somebody. Yeah, Jill and Hunter want to stay out of the joint. Well, that's the funny thing about it. Now, I did have a young man, and I guess it was a young man. I should have asked him a little more about himself. And maybe I shouldn't have kicked him out of the talk last night, but I don't like it when they just don't want to cooperate in a discussion properly. Maybe I'll loosen up a little bit. But one of the points I want to bring up is that there is a felon in the White House right now. He came to the White House before he got convicted. He was using it as a flop house and the White House. So you got Hunter there. They're saying him and Jill, Hunter and Jill, are Joe's top advisors. But have you all heard about they're loosely using the term whistleblower, but it's a staffer that came out and spoke to a journalist because he or she or they or whatever said they were at a breaking point. They were at a breaking point. They couldn't stand it anymore. They're saying that Joe doesn't make any decisions. They have what's called a decision circle is what he described it, or they describe it as. Somebody comes up with a problem, name a problem. Should we send more money to Israel, or should we send aid to Gaza? Should we send, Zelensky wants another 60 billion. They get in this decision circle. Biden's chief of staff, they make a decision. They all, like a huddle, they go, oh, 1, 2, 3, and they smack their hands together and break apart in the huddle, and they got the decision. And Joe is, singing nursery rhymes or whatever he's doing. So that ain't running the country. Now they say this chief of staff interacts with Joe quite a bit, but not from the time a problem is presented. The decision circle forms. They make a decision, break away, and start carrying out assigned tasks for the decision that was made, not even in Joe's presence. They say they vetted this person. They're remaining anonymous, but they've been vetted as to they are who they say they are, and they have the access. They claim they have the access. That's unusual, because with Trump, they would just say a senior White House official. And that could be, somebody 15 doors away that nobody ever sees, and been there for 20 years, and a full-blown Democrat. But this is going to bloom, I think, because we're talking national security. We're talking national policy. We're talking about what kind of deals are being struck? What kind of encouragement, or people are getting monetary, who knows? So we're just seeing the tip of the iceberg, the tip of the corruption. So many people are being introduced to the dishonesty of not just the administration, but the dishonesty of the media, and how they're doing these flimsy attempts to cover up for it. If you watch that press conference with Jean, what's her face? Holy cow, Gary went to buy me a coffee. Put some booms in, please, for Gary for me. I really appreciate it. 15 minutes ago. All right. That's quicker. I had that press conference with Jean Pierre, or whatever her name is. It got downright nasty. And she said she was offended at these reporters. It was a heated back and forth. And she was pressed on his exams and what kind of doctors were seeing him, how many times he'd been examined, has he taken a mental test, and reporters interrupting and raising their voices. We're tired of the information you're giving us, because I guess in some quarters, people are letting these press people know that they look like idiots, that they have been reporting lies. So they got to cover their backsides. So it was getting real nasty, but I'll tell you, there you go, Miss Menderson, that boom, 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 and Raven's wings, boom, 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 boom. So Gary flexing. That's right. When Trump was president, everything was an open book, press dialogue and everything. That's right. Haven't you guys noticed there's nothing out in the open, everything is hidden? Can you say pantomime? I won't put that up. It's a big quote, but it's up there now. But that goes into exactly what jumped in my mind. Remember the other night, I was talking about how the press has control over the press room in the White House. Most everybody here was probably here when I was discussing that. How they could get nasty with Trump. Trump couldn't bar them or throw them out. The press owns that room. All right. That's been to court before. And they were excluding reporters from the Epic Times and putting certain reporters way in the back where they couldn't ask questions and being nasty to Trump, like Jim Acosta, putting up that, I showed a picture of it, that mannequin head of Trump that they burned with a torch or something, and they stuck this head up on a shelf. That's how gross they are. But it's their little playground, that press room. That's why Trump started doing press conferences in the Rose Garden. Remember that? When they were out of control, Trump did press conferences in the Rose Garden. And that way Trump could say, get out. You know, you're not behaving, get out. And they would have to leave the Rose Garden. But he couldn't do it in the press room. And that's what I was thinking today when I was watching E. Jean, because in the past couple of days, she snaps her book shut and turns around and marches out when she starts getting tough questions. But this time she had to stick it out. And they weren't as nasty to her as they'd been to Trump over time, but they have definitely turned a corner. Okay, there are some hard feelings. There is not this buddy coordination like there used to be. Are we possibly seeing the Truth and Reconciliation Act starting to gain traction or being implemented more? She couldn't do a thing about it. She kept saying, please be respectful. This is just, I can't say for security. And she looked very foolish. And they asked questions. Does he have dementia? Did that. They're giving up. They've given up on this Parkinson's stuff, which is a ridiculous, to try to pretend, well, he was fine until he got Parkinson's, like Michael J. Fox. Remember, he was fine until he got Parkinson's. Yeah. No, they're coming out saying definitely, Pierre, what's her face, said today, he's not taking any Parkinson's medicine. He has not been diagnosed with Parkinson's. There's no evidence of Parkinson's. Okay? It's dementia. All right? They can't lie about it. Now, what they're trying to do is not say the truth, but they can't really, a matter this important, they can't tell a flat out lie. So I thought it was an interesting boomerang, how their abuse of that press office when Mr. T was in office, the cabal had that boomerang come right back in their face, and they're going to have to deal with it. So you had the call by Joe today. We're not the only ones that are saying, hey, no Zoom call. Now I know Trump's done telephone calls in the past, but this was a big interview. Okay, this was Joe Scarborough dipping his toe back into the what's going on with Joe pool after making an idiot of himself. Joe Rogan making fun of him, everybody making fun of him, playing over and over and over again that video of him telling people, F you, if you can't see he is the most cogent and wonderful man ever to be in the White House. So this is his attempt at redeeming himself. And so we're not the only ones thinking that was a pretty fishy phone call. That doesn't sound like the Joe we've heard for the past year at speeches, press conferences, rally, if you can call them that, it sounded like 5-year-old Joe 5 years ago when he was, half nuts. But it's on the record, and there's no denying it, that Trump pointed it out, during the campaign, after he stepped down during a peaceful transition of power, that Joe was losing his marbles and that the 25th Amendment was a threat. He said that years ago. There's no disputing it. We've been saying it, sometimes having posts taken down, getting blocked on Facebook, having videos taken down, channels taken down. But we put up memes showing Joe in diapers, showing Joe staring out the window at the White House saying, where's my ice cream and oatmeal? Stuff like that. And we've known for years, and there's no doubting it, no doubt about it. So now here's these people that should have known. Okay, we'll let the celebrities that are shocked slide. We'll let the people that come in the chat slide. And if there's anybody out there that wants to discuss stuff like a rational person that believes otherwise or doesn't like Trump, you're welcome to come in. But anyway, we'll let them slide. But the so-called professionals in the media, most of them know you do not get a pass. All right? The anchors, the people, not the reporter on the street, but the ones that go up day after day after day with the drum beat of horse shit, horse poop. No, you don't get a pass. You knowingly deceive the American people. You knowingly, just like with the hoaxes against Trump, every damn one of them, you knowingly subverted the government and assisted in removing the president. Might as well put it that way. And not just by hiding Joe's incompetence, but playing along with the Fauci ouchie, the distancing, the mask, everybody stay home, destroying the economy, destroying civil society, destroying the social development of kids, although keeping them out of public school may have been a blessing in some cases. But yeah, that's all, in my mind, criminal, and we're not going to forgive you. And we can go through all the different departments of people, that played along. Department of Education, the Department of Justice with these hoaxes and weaponizations going after Trump, and by the same token, making desultory, libelous comments about Trump supporters. On down the line we can go with judges, lawyers, politicians, all of them. They're on the record, and soon, not just this business about Biden's ability to serve coming out as a mirage and a hoax. All these other things are going to come out the same way. And it's damaged our country. Mike Johnson said 9 million or 9 million illegals. Double it. I don't know why he said 9 million, but you can double it. And on Hannity tonight, Hannity said, I'm concerned about terror cells. I think he mentioned Hamas. I'm not sure. We got plenty of people that are listed as groups as in terror. And Trump said he didn't say it himself. He was smart. He said, I've heard you say that before, Sean, that you're concerned about sleeper cells and an attack happening on our soil. Something to that effect. And he said, I happen to agree with you. He said, there's 100% certain. I wrote it down. He's 100% certain something would happen. He said they've been flying in tens of thousands. He said, not many people know it. The American people are not being informed that he said, whoever is running this country is taking airplanes, flying to countries, loading them up, and flying them in this country by the tens of thousands. And they know that they're criminals. They know they're mental patients. They know that they're TER, okay, wrists. All right. So, yeah, Trump said we're going to have to do a big deportation, just like Eisenhower did, only bigger. Eisenhower did it, nobody batted an eye. Because we have to, that's why. No country destroys itself like this. So, like I've said in the past, a rational listener can take their mind and take that conversation one more square forward on the chessboard. Trump doesn't have to spell it out. You can make that move on the chessboard yourself if you're of average intelligence and can exercise logic. What is the next thing to be said is that whoever is running this country and doing this to us have to be punished. That's just a fact of life. That isn't retribution. That isn't seeking vengeance. That is a fact of life. Why? So it never happens again. And when the baddies make that extra move on the chessboard when they hear Trump talking, if they're smart, they'll back off and slow it down or stop it altogether or switch sides like the person who reached a breaking point in the White House. Because this person that reached that breaking point, they didn't just find out after the debate that Biden wasn't involved in decisions. They've had to have known for years. If I were debriefing that person, that's at some point after I heard them say everything, got as much information as I could, I would definitely broach that subject. How long did you know? Why didn't you say anything about it? Did anybody threaten you? See how that works, folks? But you let them blow their guts first. Like they're being a hero and they're doing the world a favor. But what's the motivation for this person to reach a breaking point? Because they're concerned for the country? Because they just discovered Joe is going to the bathroom on himself and can't figure out if it's time for breakfast or dinner? And that's the point they get to. Or did they know it and help cover it up and participate? Why are you at a breaking point? Because you feel like things are going to fall on your head if you don't? So that's more people are going to be like that. Because what are they going to say? Well, so-and-so was above me and they knew. And so-and-so was above them and they knew. Because I remember when I went into a meeting one time, they were making fun of Joe after he pooped his pants in the Rose Garden. So it's going to snowball. Just like this backbiting and wiseacre comments about prominent YouTube creators or social media people is going to backfire on them. They're gonna come back and they're gonna get their little digs in, and it's gonna snowball. And they're gonna want to look for flaws that they can get even more bolder and get more clicks on. I'm also keeping in mind, I mentioned this Cohen guy. He's supposedly an attorney, I guess. And this Kojak Kirshner, he's an attorney. I want to see what happens to them because they're putting out stuff about Eileen Cannon. Eileen Cannon, more stuff came out today about her abilities, about her things that attorneys should not comment on about a sitting judge. I'll put it that way. But Midas Trash Network really are putting out offensive things about Cannon because she put the brakes. She put the brakes on this stupid documents case. And what's going to come out of that? And I don't want to just walk away from the point about these two characters and all these idiots. I think there's going to be a cause of action for how they're treating her and other judges that may like Alito and Thomas. I hope somebody is. I know. I don't have to hope. I know somebody's paying attention to this. But what's going to come out about this document thing? It was as idiotic as like last night. A guy comes out and says Trump had a Sharpie pen, and he was referring to when Trump drew an arrow on a hurricane map, saying he defaced a federal document. And many of you heard my response. We scribbled all over that crap because you had to. You take notes and you had to project things or do whatever you needed to do. And Nancy Pelosi tearing up Trump's speech. But they latch on to that stuff for years. They hang on to it and repeat it. Such petty garbage. And this documents case is going to be on that level. It was decided with Clinton Sox case already. All the stuff he took his stuff home, nobody said nothing. It was adjudicated. He can do what he wants, the president. And then all the stuff about it being high-level national security, nuclear secrets. Oh, my God. All a bunch of hoaxes and lies. That's all going to come out. And every one of them that pushed it, you saw how quick I'm going to call him a kid, folded up. I'd say, hey, did you hear about this person during J6? And I just ask very factual things. Come back with something reasonable and we'll discuss it. Instead of insults or repeating hoax, slurs, and libel. Hoax, slurs, and libel over and over. Let's talk about it. So, hi, Michael. How you doing? The old bag, yeah, they did rip up a speech. You don't believe the poop story, Wanda? What, with the Pope? They had probably 3 or 4 different instances where I agree, Lone Wolf. It's adding up to them. It's just not adding up to us. Their playbook is known. Like Gary said, Operation Looking Glass. Looking Glass. Now, a lot of people have said, what's Looking Glass? And they imagine something kind of like you'd see on, I don't know, Flash Gordon or 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, where you look at, you could see the future, Doctor Who kind of stuff. But I think Looking Glass, and what I've heard, it is quantum computing, where you put in scenarios, you put in the rules, you put in known human behavior, you put in personality traits, you do all kinds of stuff. And then you run different scenarios. And you will see the future. Just like a chess game. If I put my pawn here, this quantum computer will know it'll know the future move. And at some point, it will know every scenario as to who's going to win. So it's a way of predicting the future. Yeah, I've heard that too, Richard. That's stuff that's been going around. So, but the thing is, all right, if the baddies have a looking glass that is really mystical and more supernatural in nature, and so do the white hats, how would you win? Everybody could see the future. Game theory. It's whoever's better at game theory. Because in a psyop war, and that's what we're in, a psyop war. The Brunson brothers have been hiding, you say, Diane? Is that... I heard that case was still viable. I don't know. And then I see Diane says that they're in hiding. And some people said the Brunson case got finished. It's thrown out. I don't know. Do you all know if it's still cooking on a back burner, or has it been totally thrown out? And if it's totally been thrown out, why would the Brunson brothers be in hiding? Did you hear about this Kirby guy, Jack Kirby, or whatever his name is? Actually used the term big boy, talking about Biden doing a press conference. Said he's going to come out and do a big boy press conference. He's going to do two. And Jean Pierre, before she got her chops smacked, she used the same terminology about the second one he was going to do, a big boy press conference. And apparently they got that term off of a journalist that put out an op-ed that said Biden needs to do a big boy press conference. So what Lone Wolf was saying, something's not right. All right. They're mocking Biden. You got Biden, or the Biden camp, defiant, hostile even. I am the nominee. I am not going anywhere. The same day, you got officials and one charge of the press mocking Biden, saying he's going to do a big boy press conference. So Is that just infighting? Is that where these very moneyed movers and shakers are getting in a bug in the ear to people like Kirby and Jean Pierre, even though she gave a very spirited defense of Biden? Maybe she's just stupid and doesn't realize how bad it sounds to say a big boy press conference. Let me get a sip of my coffee. But what I was waiting for after she said that was for somebody to bring out the fact, and correct me if I'm wrong, Biden has never gave a press conference except for 4 or 5 written questions. 5 minutes, probably canned answers, screws them up, turns around, abruptly walks out. He has never, not one time, given a traditional press conference. And we all know Trump would stand out just walking by and come to a dead stop and talk for half an hour. Over and over and over and over again. And Biden had not given one that I know of. I can't remember him ever giving a press conference that would last more than 5 minutes. Has never happened. No president has ever behaved that way. Oh, Phil. Hi, Phil. Hi, Michael. Said boom. Jim Willie has info on them. He's on X and Rumble. He was Gino Rodriguez channel. I don't know. Wanda says it's not finished yet. Jim Willie said it today. Okay. Maybe that's why they're in hiding. Raven says it's still viable. They're waiting on the right moment. And Gary said, yes, the most likely outcome. That's right. Game theory. Maybe that is a trump card. Who knows? The Brunsons. I agree. You know, if I used to talk to people who were trying to decode posts, going in all this deep stuff about the 17th post, taking numbers and twisting them up with dates, kind of like they were trying to decode what a little orphan Annie decode ring that you get in a cereal box. And I was like, forget it. The whole thing is to inform the public about what we're up against, where you can get open source news to find out about stuff about Huber, about Horowitz, about what happened in Haiti, what the Clintons have been doing, all that stuff that people can read in the papers for themselves, what's being done. But the strategy itself, if we could sit here and figure it out, what's going to happen, the baddies could figure it out. And believe me, the people that are working on this aren't going to let anybody know. And like Gary said, nobody will be able to guess. Because if everybody could guess what the strategy was, what the moves were going to be made, the baddies would just counter it. So that's why misinformation is necessary. Yeah. I'm a big boy now. Yep, I did a 5-minute one. Mr. T got immunity. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of cuts in the Biden interviews. Patriots, right, Debbie? So I think sometimes these hints that Mr. T puts out, oh, I was talking about, like, I think about this thing about Viktor Orban, okay? And you have Trump saying, I'm going to stop this war. And he made a point of saying it before I take office. After my election, before my inauguration, I will put a stop to that conflict. That made a lot of antennas go up on the baddie side, okay? So that, it coupled with Viktor Orban, okay, who came out, met with Trump in Mar-a-Lago a couple months ago, made public declarations in support of Trump, saying that the war is folly, starting the Make Europe Great Again movement, okay, met with Zelensky. Zelensky cracked and said, I'm ready to talk peace. Russia doesn't have to give back land to start the talks. Viktor Orban goes to Moscow. Then he put out a statement that he had a surprise coming. And Russian media thought he's alluding that he's going to go visit Trump. Well, what came out at about 1 o'clock this morning about Viktor Orban? Nobody knew he was going to do it, but he went and met with somebody. Breaking. No, on Monday, Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban will fly to China, writes the Hungarian portal 444. At the time of publication of the information, the military government aircraft Dassault Falcon 7X is heading from Budapest to Beijing, according to radar tracking reports. Was that what his surprise trip was going to be? To go to China? They claim he's on that X7 plane or whatever it is. Or is this just some upstart publication? Internet site? No, it's not. Because, let's see, that was how many hours later? I guess it was about later that day. Days and nights over there, I don't know. But the next report that came out concerning Orban says Orban confirmed that he flew to China this morning. This was at 1:50 to about 2 a.m. our time. He stated that he would discuss achieving peace in Ukraine with Xi Jinping. China is a key force in creating the conditions for peace in the Russian-Ukraine war. That, hold on, is why I came to meet President Xi Jinping in Beijing just 2 months after his official visit to Budapest, Orban wrote on X. The day before, the president visited Kiev and met with Vladimir Zelensky. Then, And then he went to Moscow, where he discussed the parameters of a peaceful settlement and proposed a ceasefire. Okay, so is Trump next? I don't know. But he is brokering some kind of deal. He's the only major state official that has been to see Trump, been to see Zelensky, been to see Putin, and been to see Xi Jinping. Is his next visit going to be Trump? But what did Trump do during the debate and directly after the debate? When Biden was putting up such a poor, weak showing, Trump said 2 times, addressing Putin and Xi Jinping, what did he tell him? Don't mess with me. Don't try anything stupid, and don't mess with me. That's a very strong statement to come from air quotes candidate for president of the United States. And after he made those strong statements, warning them both, Orban, in my mind, got activated to start his negotiations. So that's the kind of stuff I keep an eye on. And if it wasn't for looking at foreign news services, I'd never know. The last thing I heard MSNBC and CNN and all these operatives, these Marxist operatives say about Orban was a couple months ago called him Europe's dictator. And here you have this person going to all these major players and not one peep in the news. That's even Fox News, okay? And Newsmax. All of them. The Epic Times. Maybe they put an article out on, but I didn't see it. So according to the Ruskies, this is the way they looked at it, reading what's happening in American politics. In the U.S. Democratic Party, many are waiting for Biden to refuse to run for president until the end of next week. They want everyone from Obama to congressional leaders to beg Biden to withdraw from the election by this Friday, Axios writes, citing sources. According to Axios, the number of supporters of this idea is growing. The portal writes that this situation is developing, quote, outside Biden's protective bubble, unquote, inside which his family is convincing the president to stay in the race. So what they're saying is Jill and Hunter are inside the protective bubble, and just about everybody outside is planning on getting rid of Biden. But then you have Pocahontas came out in support of Biden. Then you had AOC came out in support of Biden. That's a rift. Because then, on the other hand, you got Pelosi saying it's time to go. And you got Jerry Nadler saying it's time to go. So we're starting to see the factions in the party that are clashing. But if I had to put dollars to donuts, Joe's got to go. Because of the Pelosi, Nadler, and Adam Schiff. Okay? He's in the Senate end of it. And Adam Schiff, as we know, is C.I.A. So how many Dems have you all heard supporting Joe? I got Pocahontas and AOC, what happened with what's his face? Frankenstein, the one that had a stroke. I can't think of his name. The one that had a couple of strokes and was in the hospital for depression. I can't think of his name. I think did he come out for Trump? I mean, for Joe? Lurch. He said, that's right, Fetterman, Kim. Thank you. I think Fetterman wants him to stay. So it's good. Hi, Cliff. How you doing? So it's going to be interesting watching them slug it out. That's right, Roland. He does need that. I agree. Well, we got you got this France result. The entire nation, every state in the nation voting for Le Pen, one little city going with the libs, and then the libs get all the votes for parliament across the country. Ridiculous, idiotic. Then you have Biden vowing to veto a bill saying non-citizens cannot vote in American elections. That is on top of Wisconsin Supreme Court saying it's okay to put unmonitored DROP, okay, boxes, kind of like a raindrop, all right, boxes. It, again, very little reporting on that. We go to alternative sites. We know about it. We know the Supreme Court gave carte blanche for Wisconsin to commit some serious offenses, right? I'll put it that way. But I think that's getting people on the record in the judiciary at a high level, Wisconsin Supreme Court. I don't know what the vote was, how many said yes, how many said no, but the ones that said yes, if they're not doing it at the direction of military intelligence in order to catch people down the road, if they're doing it because they genuinely think allowing obvious fraud, then they're going to be removed. A lot of different judges are going to be removed. In the past, I brought it up, how many newspapers Lincoln shut down during the Civil War, how many state houses he dissolved, and, you know, out of office, you're gone. You're not a representative. You're not a senator. Out, out, out. And it can happen again. Yeah, that's a good idea. I got me some onions. I might do that. Another thing Trump brought up, the Democrats are going to have their convention in Chicago. Last month, we talked about the Chicago convention was going to be a circus. And we had videos where citizens in Chicago were saying, you know, this is going to be a damn mess, okay? That's before this problem with Joe, before all these people are jumping in wanting to get rid of Joe. But Trump brought it up that there were 100, he said this, 117. All right, pew pew action. People got shot. I'll put it that way. 117 of them in Chicago this past weekend. It's out of control. And I saw a video that I didn't get a chance to watch yet. It's only 40 seconds long, but it was on Citizens Free Press. And it said the Chicago mayor found someone to blame for the violence in Chicago. I know it's late in the broadcast, but just real quick, folks, don't goggle it either. Take a quick guess who the Chicago mayor decided to blame for the violence. Last weekend's record-breaking violence. Who do you think they blamed? The mayor of Chicago. And this lets me know that this is a taught movement. This is a movement that's been taught history. Not the correct history, but it all ties together. Angela, did you read the article, Angela? Yeah, Angela put it in twice. Nixon. They blamed Richard Nixon. A public statement. How long has Nixon been dead? Nixon went out of office in 74, 3, 50 years ago. Well, Angela, you saw the clip. You should let other people guess. Diane said, you heard Richard Nixon. Yeah. But in fairness, Angela and Diane, they'd have never guessed it. They'd have never guessed it. If somebody asked me and I hadn't read that about what Citizens Free Press said, I would have scratched my head for hours saying, and I would have said, Trump, no. George Bush, no. Carrie Lake, no. I'd have gone on for days. So how the hell do they get Richard Nixon cause problems in Chicago in 2024? All right, Gary, let's see. In the next 30 days, well, we got to give a little wiggle room. It might be 33 days or 29 days or something. We don't know the exact time, but something's going to happen. Something's going to happen. Maybe that's why Orban is going over there to try to get things done. And why Trump put out the warning to Putin and Xi not to don't screw with me, don't mess with me, because we're at a point where something's going to happen. He's just reminding them, don't even think about it. Because, if they had bad intentions, that would be the time to strike, is when something goes cuckoo with Biden. But you know what? Somebody used the term humiliation ritual. It was Fox News. They said, I think this is a humiliation ritual that we're witnessing. And I thought about that. That means you really want to humiliate them? You really want to destroy the freak out people, is what Joy Reid called them. The freak out people, the radicals, make them go through this convention. The images that came from the 1968 Democratic Convention, and maybe that's why they're blaming Nixon. He was a Republican. He didn't have anything to do with that. But anyway, the images that came out of there, with the cops grabbing hold of long hairs and giving them wood shampoos and dragging them across chairs and just absolute mayhem. is one of the reasons Nixon went to a historic win. Every state but DC. So I put that electoral map up. Remember Nixon's win. So what do you think this is? How this is going to affect the country? You know how the conventions are. All the networks show it. How are they going to hide the craziness? How are they going to hide the... I remember when Jimmy Carter got the nomination in 1980. The Washington Post had a picture, black and white picture of a woman standing with her glasses. She was obviously in a family way wearing a t-shirt. She had a smile on her face, and on her t-shirt, it said, lesbian with child. And I thought, oh my God, no way Carter's gonna win over Gerald Ford. They still won. But that was back in 1979. Can you imagine how cuckoo they're going to be now? They're going to have the rainbow colors at that convention. They're going to have that. They're going to have the floor of that convention looking like a Circus Olay. It's going to look like one of these tranny story hours at a library for kids. It's going to be wild, and you're going to have people going wild. And the world will see it because all the networks will have to cover it. Traditionally, they cover conventions. Now, how about the Republicans have a beautiful, respectful, inspiring convention that is broadcast? Trump has his 20 points, which I'll read on another broadcast. One of them is no taxes on tips. Well, something similar to that. And then you follow up that convention with Joe Biden shaking his fist at the wind and all the cuckoos going cuckoo. Shiny, happy people. Yeah. Can you see my last post between, let's see, Michael. Let me see if I see your last post, Michael. Where is it? Sometimes you Tizzle will take them down. They take them down on their own. Depends on what kind of words you put in there. It's why you got to have, I don't see anything, Michael. I don't see your posts. I haven't taken anything yet. Biden needs to stay to November. I see that. And that's about as far back as I can go. I can't go back any farther. I do not see anything, Michael. Biden is going to stay in, and the convention is going to be a disaster. It's going to be the end of the Democratic Party, I believe. Now, I don't see it, Michael. Oh, Mr. T put his Agenda 47 out. Good. Yeah, I got to combat that other thing. They're quick. Yeah, they are quick. It's a computer-generated removal. Depends on the words you put in. You put in certain words, YouTube will just take them out. And that's why I caution people not to do that, because it puts a booger on my channel. Like I ain't got enough boogers on me. So be careful, Michael. Just use numbers for letters, like a 0 for an O, a 3 for an E, a 4 for an A. Any words you think might set things off. But anyway, folks, I've gone an hour and a half. And just checking the chats in case anything else we want to rap about. That's what we need to put out as Agenda 47 and the 20 promises. 20 promises. And we'll get this talk away from that rhino, uniparty, boogeyman stuff called Project 2025. That's Lincoln Project people behind that and rhinos behind that to try to vilify and scare people. 90% of it is great and what we all know we want to do anyway, and 10% of it is poison. Scaring people make us look irrational, irresponsible, and inconsiderate and unkind. I don't know what word you use. We the people word. I don't know. Well, whoever's running this country doesn't care about we the people, just like in France, how they got those votes through. It's so obvious. They're going to be very obvious. Donna, Florida girl, how you doing? That's right. They're trying to steal God's rainbow. Make them mad, they'll find out. Well, we gotta do God's work. God helps those who help themselves. Oh, yeah. That's a word you can't put up. You're right, Miss Mendersub. She put spaces in between there. Yeah, you can't just put that word in, Michael. My God. On big channels, you could probably get away with it. But little channels like me, they don't want to get big. And they get enough of those takedowns on my channel, they will say, oh, we'll go ahead and give him a, what do they say, baseball strike? Whoops. I put a comment up. Kim, I didn't even know I put that up here, Kim. I must have left my finger on. Yeah, they're doing it on purpose. All right, folks. Well, we'll talk about Richard Nixon. Remember, Trump had that letter from Nixon on his wall in the Oval Office, framed and very prominently displayed. I think a lot of stuff's going to be coming out. Actually, Nixon's lucky he didn't. He's lucky he lived. I'll put it that way. If it wasn't so close to what happened to Kennedy, they took care of him another way. Haha, thank you, sweetheart, Miss Mendersub, and thank you for supporting the channel. Thank you, Mike and Bev, for supporting the channel tonight, and Gary for supporting the channel. Miss Mendersub helped out last night. I do appreciate it. And everybody else that's been helping out, I called out some names earlier in the broadcast, people helping out with Buy Me a Coffee. And yeah, I thought it was America too, Michael. That's what I was telling that person that was in last night. I was trying to have a discussion with him. I was saying, Isn't this pitiful? I have to sit here and spell words, and I have to tell people to use numbers instead of letters. Because he said, this is America, and he said, this is, and then he put up an American flag. Yeah, for him, when he wants to bash Trump or call him names or repeat slander or childish nonsense, he can do whatever he wants. But on my channel, my broadcast, I got to watch every little damn thing I say. If that doesn't show you how rotten it is. But anyway, folks, I appreciate you all spending your precious time with me. And I should be up tomorrow night if everything goes okay. And let's keep a sharp eye on stuff, what Viktor Orban's doing and what's going on with these crazy Democrats. What are they going to do with Joe? Like I said before, he's their problem. So anyway, folks, I'll be seeing you soon. Thank you for tuning in. This is Mountain Man, over and out.